You know the feeling, don't you? You want to talk to your partner, your sibling, your parent, maybe even a close friend. You genuinely want a calm, rational chat about something that's been bugging you, or a decision you need to make together. And then, bam! Somehow within minutes voices are climbing, eyes are doing acrobatics, and that all too familiar knot of frustration is doing a salsa in your stomach. What started as a simple, "Hey, can we talk?" has exploded into a full-blown argument. And now you're both left feeling hurt, misunderstood, and like you're miles apart instead of side by side. People love to blame communication issues for relationship breakdowns. But what if the real monster under the bed is something we all do, almost without thinking, every single time we disagree? It's a scene that plays out pretty much everywhere, every day. You try to talk about whose turn it is to unload the dishwasher, where to go for that much-needed vacation, or maybe something heavier like money or how to raise the kids. You start with the best intentions, truly. You tell yourself, okay, deep breaths. This time it'll be different. We'll just talk. But then, oh boy, the downward spiral kicks in. A tiny edge in their tone. A word choice that just pokes you the wrong way. That defensive stance they take. Suddenly, this isn't about the dishwasher anymore, is it? Nope. Now it's about how they never listen, or how you always have to be the one holding it all together. Old grudges, like those relatives you only see at awkward holiday dinners, come crashing into the conversation, dragging all their dusty emotional baggage with them. The air gets thick. You can almost taste the unspoken accusations. Blood pressure? Going up. You see their face twist into that look, the one that screams, "I'm digging my heels in and nothing you say will move me." And you just know they're seeing a similar look on your face. Connection? Pff, that's out the window. Understanding? Yeah, that packed its bags and caught the first train out of there. What's left is this aching, heavy feeling of frustration, of being totally unseen and completely unheard. And it's not just about the sting of one fight. Each one of these showdowns, big or small, acts like a tiny chisel, just chipping away at the very foundation of your relationship. Resentment starts to creep in, building up layer by silent, sneaky layer. You might even start avoiding certain topics, tiptoeing around potential arguments just to keep things peaceful. But that's not real peace, is it? It's more like a tense ceasefire born out of pure exhaustion. And in that silence, intimacy just withers. The emotional gap widens, and you start wondering if you can ever get back to that easy closeness you used to have. If this pattern keeps going, you can end up feeling more like courtroom opponents than loving partners. Walking on eggshells becomes the new normal, and the actual joy of being together gets buried under piles and piles of unresolved conflict. So, what is this sneaky little saboteur that's derailing our connections? What's the real number one reason our calm discussions so often morph into painful, relationship-damaging arguments? It's usually not about what we're arguing about. It's not always about who's right or wrong about the chores, the holiday plans, or the budget. The number one reason arguments wreck your relationships is this: we argue to win, instead of arguing to understand. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about the last few times you disagreed with someone. Were you genuinely, truly listening to what they were saying, trying to get a handle on their feelings and what they needed? Or were you busy cooking up your next comeback, mentally listing all the evidence for your case, just waiting for them to take a breath so you could unleash your killer point and prove you were right? If we're being totally honest with ourselves, most of us are doing the latter. We charge into disagreements like gladiators entering an arena, armed with our points, our justifications, and our absolute conviction that we're right. Our main goal becomes making the other person back down, admit we're right, and wave our flag of victory over the smoking ruins of the conversation. We get so wrapped up in defending our turf and attacking theirs that we totally blow past the chance for any real connection or mutual understanding. And why is this so incredibly damaging? Because when your focus is on winning, the other person automatically becomes the enemy, the one you have to defeat. Empathy vanishes. Curiosity about their side of things? Gone. Instead, defensiveness goes through the roof. When someone feels attacked or like they're in a verbal wrestling match they never signed up for, their brain's natural fight or flight response can kick into high gear. They stop listening to actually hear your point. and start listening for holes in your argument, or they just shut down completely. Nobody enjoys feeling like they're losing, or like their feelings and perspective don't count. So naturally, they fight back even harder, or they withdraw, and that vicious cycle just keeps spinning, pushing you further and further apart. This whole approach turns disagreements into power struggles, and let's be real, in a relationship power struggle, everybody ends up losing. Alright, so we've unmasked the big villain, arguing to win. The fantastic news is that there's a pretty straightforward, though let's be honest, not always easy, way to fix it. It's all about making a fundamental shift in how you approach disagreements. It's about learning to argue to understand. Here's how you can start doing that, broken down into a few key steps. Step 1. Shift your goal from winning to understanding. This right here is the absolute game changer. Before you even say a word, consciously change your internal mission. Tell yourself, my goal here isn't to prove I'm right or to make them wave the white flag. My goal is to understand where they're coming from, and for them to understand where I'm coming from. This mental tweak is huge. It changes the entire vibe of the conversation. Remember, you and your loved one are supposed to be on the same team, even when you see things differently. The problem is the opponent, not the person sitting across from you. Step 2. Master active listening. Truly hear them out. This sounds so simple, but it's a skill most of us are surprisingly not great at. Active listening isn't just politely waiting for your turn to talk while you plan your rebuttal. It means giving the other person your full attention. Yep, put down the phone, turn off the TV, look at them. Really listen to their words, the emotion bubbling under the surface, and even what they're not saying. A brilliant technique here is to quickly summarize or reflect back what you've heard before you jump in with your own thoughts. Something like, okay, so if I'm getting this right, you are feeling super frustrated because it seems like you're juggling most of the mental checklist for the household. Is that about right? This does two amazing things. First, it makes sure you've actually understood them. And second, it makes them feel understood, which is like a magic potion for lowering defensiveness. Ask questions to genuinely get their viewpoint, not to trap them. Step 3. Speak your truth, respectfully. Use I statements and focus on the issue. When it's your turn to share, do it from your side of the street. This is where I statements are pure gold. Instead of launching with, you always leave your stuff everywhere, you're so inconsiderate, which is a direct hit and pretty much guarantees they'll put their walls up. Try something like, I feel overwhelmed and honestly a bit disrespected when I see clothes on the floor after I've asked for them to be picked up, because it makes me feel like the effort I put into keeping our space nice isn't really valued. See the difference? You were talking about your feelings and your experience related to a specific action, not sledgehammering their character. And try to stick to the current issue. Don't drag out the entire history of every past disagreement. That just makes the problem feel too big to solve. Step 4. Find the us in the you versus me. Look for common ground and collaborate. Even in the middle of the most heated disagreements, there's usually some common ground, some shared goal you both have. Maybe you both want a home that feels peaceful and happy. Maybe you both want what's genuinely best for the kids. Maybe you both just want to feel respected and loved. Actively hunt for these points of agreement and say them out loud. Look, I know we both want this vacation to be relaxing and fun for everyone, right? So how can we figure out a plan that makes us both feel good about it? This flips the script from a battle to a team problem-solving session. You're no longer opponents. You're partners trying to fix an issue together. Be open to compromise. Healthy relationships aren't about one person always getting their way. Step 5. Know when to pause. Manage those emotions. Sometimes, even with the best intentions, things just get too hot. Your heart starts pounding, your voice gets louder, and you feel that familiar wave of anger or intense frustration about to crash. That is your bright red signal to take a break. Seriously. Nothing good ever comes from a conversation when both people are emotionally flooded and seeing red. It's a great idea to agree on a pause signal beforehand when you're both calm. It could be a word or a simple hand gesture. Then actually use it and take the break. Say something like, Whoa, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now and I don't want to say something I'll regret. Can we please take 20 minutes to cool down and then come back to this? During that break, do something that actually calms you down. Go for a walk. Listen to some music, take some deep breaths. Don't just sit there stewing and replaying the argument in your head, planning your next attack. Then, when you're both feeling calmer, you can try again with a fresh focus on understanding. When you consistently make this shift from arguing to win to discussing to understand, the changes in your relationships can be absolutely amazing. Instead of conversations that create more distance and bitterness, you'll have discussions that actually build intimacy and connection. You'll feel more heard, more seen, and more validated. And guess what? So will the people you care about. Trust deepens. You'll discover that you can navigate disagreements, which by the way are a totally normal part of any healthy relationship, in a way that actually strengthens your bond. Conflicts stop being battlegrounds and start becoming opportunities for growth. So to quickly recap, the number one reason arguments tend to wreck our relationships is because we usually argue to win instead of to understand. The fix is to consciously change your goal to understanding. Really practice active listening. Use those I statements. Focus on being a team and know when it's time to hit the pause button. It definitely takes practice. You'll slip up sometimes and so will they. That's okay. But every single time you choose understanding over winning, you're making a powerful investment in the health and happiness of your relationships. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one communication tip that has really helped your relationships when disagreements pop up? Share it in the comments below. Let's learn from each other.